What is up, guys? Welcome to the Kickash podcast. We are here today to take a look at the Bash in Berlin WWE PLE that will be airing from Berlin, Germany, of course. No surprise there. I did get a chance to take a look at the pre-show that they did earlier this morning. Today's Friday, which is actually really cool. It was, what you would expect, nothing out of the box or anything like that, but it's just cool seeing the German fans. I actually have a friend of mine, Ollie, who's out there from the UK. So it's really cool. It's really cool to see the international fans. I have always been one of the advocates for WWE venturing out and going more international because of a lot of reasons, really. But two of the main reasons are obviously the fan reactions that you get out there. They just bring a different type of vibe and energy, right? And then two, the early start times. So tomorrow will be starting over here on the East Coast side of the US at 1 p.m., which I'm super excited for. Be able to start the day off right. But thank you guys so much for checking out the show. I truly appreciate it. We're experimenting with going live here on the Kickash podcast. It's the first time here for this podcast to be going live, so it's pretty cool. Just experimenting still. I actually got my first taste in going live over at Brass Ring Media, which is a cheap little transition plug for you guys to check me out there as well, and to check out Zach, Tyler, and Robert as well. At Brass Ring Media on YouTube. You can follow on Twitter as well. I go live there every Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. So obviously we'll be going live tomorrow. We'll be taking a look at Bash in Berlin as well. Any changes or anything that's happening from tonight on SmackDown, we'll be reviewing tomorrow over there. So definitely feel free to pop on over and check me out there. It'd be really cool. But yeah, I'm just kind of still learning how all this works. So appreciate you guys for sticking with me and watching either live if you pop in or later on. Again, I'm just one of those that don't really have many expectations, just kind of figure all this stuff out. But today's show isn't going to be too long. The card for Bash in Berlin is not long at all, thankfully. So this won't be too long of a show. So I figured this would be a good one to kind of experiment with. But with that being said, we will be getting right into the show. We're not going to waste too much time. There's five matches on the card here, which again is just super great. I just warms my heart to see. Not only is it going to be an early afternoon show, but it's also going to be pretty quick. I would imagine about 3 hours or so, maybe about 3.5, depending on how long. If they have any, I don't think they have anyone scheduled. Any. I don't even know what the song is. Actually, thinking about it, sometimes they have like musical acts or some shit pop up, but I don't think they have anyone set for tomorrow. So that should make it much smoother as well. But the card, again, it's being held in Berlin, Germany at the Uber Arena. And if you haven't checked out the press conference or seen any footage or any spoilers prior, it's a pretty big arena and it's pretty dope. It's kind of reminded me honestly of the stadium in Philadelphia, just the way that they had it set up. And again, obviously I don't know the size of the arena yet. It was just a brief glimpse that I got, but the way they had it set up was really cool out in front of the arena itself. And they had obviously everyone coming out who had a match on the card. CM Punk, I heard he was out there, I believe it was like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours prior to the pre-show actually starting, kind of meeting with some fans and taking pictures, signing autographs and stuff like that. So that was really cool of him to do that and then obviously carry on with whatever he had to do. But with all that out of the way, and if you guys want to as well get the business out, if you can follow me on Twitter at Kickash Podcast _. You can follow me personally at ASHMANNS. But yeah, with all that out of the way, we'll get right to the card itself. And again, with 5 matches, it's just a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. And I think I'll be recording, just a side note, I think I'll be recording an additional episode maybe later today, just on some stuff that's kind of come out, but we'll TBD on that because obviously be going live tomorrow. So we'll see. But the card, we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. No offense to anyone. And it's good to be the opening match. I heard a lot of wrestlers say in various interviews, if you're not the main event, you want to be the first on the card. So no shunning there or anything like that. No, nothing like that. But we have the Unholy Union, which is Apple Fire and Isla Dawn, your champions, facing off against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. This one's pretty simple. It's maybe a quicker show than I anticipated, really. But this one's pretty simple. My opinion. it's going to be Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I don't really think that I would honestly be more surprised if Bianca and Jade did not win and the unholy union. Oh, I keep wanting to say reunion, but the unholy union retain rather. It was cool that they won in their, I think it was in Scotland, right? About 2 months ago or so. But it's just time. Bianca and Jade. I was surprised that they won back then, but I think there was a lot going on. Obviously, they WWE wanted to kind of give them the moment of being in their home country and things like that. But one of the wrestlers, I'm not sure which one, but I believe they had lost their mother a couple days prior in a car accident. So I think there was just a lot going on. It was just something that was like a feel good and something that WWE wanted to do, which kudos to them if that's the case. You know, you don't really want to do like charity bookings or anything like that, but I wouldn't even classify that. And I heard some people kind of referencing that, and to me, that wasn't the case at all. As a company, you just need to be mindful of stuff like that. And when a competitor is going through a lot, and it would just make sense to do something like that, then do it. And it didn't cause any harm, in my opinion. It's going to make Bianca and Jade's win that much more meaningful too, because now this is going to be their second reign. I'm pretty confident. And now we can really get going. We can see what they're going to look like as a tag team continuing forward, and then the eventual breakup. I know I'm one of those that I've even advocated, for instance, for like the Street Profits. If and when they do end up breaking up, I don't think that it needs to be one person turning on the other. You can have an amicable breakup, and you can have someone just worked, or a team rather, just wanting to do their own thing, and they can still support each other from afar, but you don't necessarily always have to have a breakup. Yeah, it's more impactful, and it kind of answers a lot of questions and sets up a nice little ready-made feud and things like that. So there's probably more pros than cons in a lot of ways. But with that being said, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, I think you absolutely want to pull the trigger for that. I think if and when, or I'm not even going to say if, when the time does come for that, again, I think you probably have, gosh, another 6-7 months before you want to do that. Maybe until, well, depending on if you want to do it at this coming year's WrestleMania, I think you could still get more out of them. I think that you could get more out of them as a team, I should say, and I think that you could probably go past WrestleMania. You can maybe have them carry the titles to WrestleMania. I don't know if that's too long, since the tag team division isn't really that deep, which is again why I think they should have kept them as essentially unified tag champs and have them float between all three brands. But it is what it is. But long story short, with this one, Bianca and Jade win. I think this is, yeah, most likely going to be the only title change here. Just glancing through the card really quick. Spoiler alert, but it just makes more sense to me. If not, I don't know what else you're waiting for, and I don't know what other situation you want to do it in. So just makes more sense. With the next matchup, and it depends on the order. Kind of looking at everything. I don't necessarily see it going this way. And again, it's going to be really interesting which championship match ends up main eventing the card as well. I'm more so leaning towards Gunther and Randy Orton being the actual main event. So you could very well open the card with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, for instance. Um, it would just be kind of awkward if you have Cody, your Universal Champion, in like the middle of the card. I don't know, just maybe it wouldn't be that bad, but to me, it's just kind of shoved in there, and it's just kind of like a weird perception. So, kind of re-glancing at the card, maybe Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens do open. So we'll go with that one next. And again, this one I don't think it's gonna take much time either. I am surprised though, and I think tonight on SmackDown, it's they still have an opportunity, but I'm surprised we haven't definitively gotten a Kevin Owens heel turn. And again, I'm not even advocating for that, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised that we haven't gotten that. But I think that this match is kind of lacking a little bit of oomph to it, and a little bit of substance. It's fine, Cody Rhodes is doing the noble thing. He wanted to give his friend a title shot. Kevin Owens has done a lot for Cody Rhodes' career. Side stories, Cody Rhodes is the one who, Kevin Owens is the one who introduced Cody Rhodes to the Young Bucks and kind of set them up. And obviously, we know what ended up happening from there. So there's a lot, and you can, if you want to just keep it WWE related, you can, and you could have played off of, and they've referenced it here and there. not even here and there. They have referenced the relationship that Kevin Owens had with Dusty Rhodes back in the NXT days. So there's a lot of crossover. So that's kind of why I was a little bit surprised that we hadn't gotten Kevin Owens turning on on Cody rather, just because I feel like Owens could have really used that version and the bad guy route to just really kind of eviscerate Cody in a lot of ways and just kind of beat him down verbally in a lot of ways. But I'm surprised, or pleasantly surprised. I guess I'll go back and say I'm happy that they haven't gone that route. Now, if they're going to continue with this, that's going to be another factor. And if they do continue with Kevin and Cody, for instance, going to Bad Blood, I think you definitely need to pull the trigger then, because you can only get so much out of, a good guy Kevin facing off against a good guy Cody. But I think with what they've had, they've done okay, but I'm just not terribly impressed or excited for it. I think the match is going to be fine. And I think it's gonna be good. I'm not even gonna say fine. That's not giving enough credit. I think it's gonna be a good match, but I think that story wise, we could have gotten more leading up into this, and that's part of me, or another reason why part of me is wondering if we're gonna get a rematch at Bad Blood. That's what is this going on September? So October 5th, I believe Bad Blood is. So if you don't have anything ready made for Cody, then it would make sense to run it back with Kevin. But again, I think you would need to do something more and something more drastic to really shake this up and give it more life. We do have a comment here, so I'll bring that up here in 1 second. And shout out to, looks like Justin Fleming. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, man. Says Raquel Rodriguez is joining the new Judgment Day to help Liv Morgan and Dom Dom win. That's a pretty good idea. I'll hold on to that there, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But it wouldn't surprise me. And now that you bring her up, I did recently, I think it was in the past week, I heard somewhere that she's healing up. I know she has some type of chronic, I don't want to say illness, but chronic issue that she's been dealing with in relation to her skin or something. Her skin reacts, or just has a weird reaction to certain things that she's been dealing with. And it was pretty severe. So that took her out for obviously quite some time. And she had been dealing with it, I forget what year it was, but leading into the Elimination Chamber, was that when they were in Australia? I think maybe when they were leading into, when they were at the Elimination Chamber in Australia, I think that was the chamber match when it really affected her. And she fought through that. So shout out to her for powering through that. You just never know, even if obviously we could see a little bit of what was going on, but there's a lot of times we don't know what's going on with the wrestlers. So they have to power through a lot of shit, and they have to, and plus traveling too. Like traveling takes a toll on you as well. So sometimes I just travel like a couple hour flights, and I feel like I'm exhausted. So I can't even imagine how these people feel. So shout out to them. But yeah, Justin, we'll definitely get back to that here in a second when we cover Dom Dom's match. But next up, we have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre within a strap match, which to me is very fitting. It actually makes a lot of sense. And I hadn't even thought about it prior, so I was actually kind of kicking myself for overlooking that. The and just the symbolism, if nothing else, with them being attached to each other, first of all, and then something around their wrist connecting them to each other, which is obviously the bracelet. So just kind of like a little bit of symbolism there. It was pretty cool once I kind of put everything together and actually thought about it. Again, today with the press conference, I think if you guys haven't seen the press conference, and again, probably not because it aired not even too long ago, and it's a typical work day. I just had some time off because a friend of mine was visiting me, so taking advantage of it. But yeah, Punk had a great reaction. For that matter, him and Randy Orton, which we'll get to again later on. But the fans just, of course, singing a song, just love Punk. And like I referenced at the beginning of the show, he went out there and actually signed some autographs, took pictures, which means a lot and really goes a long way. But with all that out of the way, the match itself, I think it's going to be brutal. I think this is going to be a nasty match. I think we're going to see just a shit ton of just whipping with the strap. And I think that their backs are going to be bleeding, shit like that. And they said, I think the last one, I'm going to pull it up here. I think they said the last match or strap match that CM Punk had was with Umaga. And I want to double check that. Because actually, when they referenced it on the press conference, I wanted to go back and watch it. I'm pretty confident it was that one. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so gotta love Google. So it was, of course, a Samoan strap match: CM Punk versus Umaga. Let's see if I can pull it up. I just don't want any videos to play. Gotten flagged for that in the past. um, yeah, okay. It looks like it was Extreme Rules in 2009. Yeah, and side note, if and when we get an eventual Punk and Roman Reigns match, which that would, I don't even know how that would look. Who's gonna be good guy, bad guy at that point? So not even gonna speculate too much, but that'd be a fun little callback. That would be a fun little just thing that Punk can throw at Roman. I think that not that Punk needs any more ammo, and yes, there is biasy, but not that Punk needs any more ammo, but it's just kind of ironic that his last strap match, at least in WWE, was against Umaga, and I think the one that he had prior to that was, they said, in OVW, but I don't think they mentioned his name, or his opponent's name, rather. But yeah, so long story short, they did mention, I want to look that up as well. They mentioned that Drew McIntyre has had a strap match in the past as well. But that he ended up losing, and he said it was due to Mace. And I wanted to see if I can pull it up here really quick. I completely forgot that. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, I can't find it offhand. Was it October 23? No, I don't know why that pulled up. But yeah, so it's not really important. I was just curious. But it would be kind of fun to tie that in to see who True had faced. Yeah, it's not easily coming up here. So it is what it is. My curiosity will look it up later. Defeated, yeah, no. Okay. But anyway, I think this match is obviously, like I said, is going to be brutal, and I think it needs to be. I think this match on the card needs to probably have the most time. It needs to be, and I guess you could probably start off with this too. I don't know. I think you need to start off with, you need to book in with the championship matches, in my opinion. So I think this one could maybe go on like third or something. But man, I think this match is going to be very telling for CM Punk. And I think that it needs to really show that Punk still has that edge to him, and he still has that brutality, and he's still that badass. Yes, Punk was never really known for being that type, but he needs to show that fire. And I think that this match will bring that out in him. And obviously he needs to win this. if they're gonna, regardless if they're gonna continue this, but even more so, if they're gonna continue it to Bad Blood, which just seems fitting, they need Punk to win this. And I think it would obviously, well, for one, level out the playing field, but two, it would give Drew just so much ammo in his own right, to come back at Punk, and I don't think you need any interference, but it can be something as simple as Drew saying, yeah, okay, you may have beat me in the strap match, but you haven't pinned me. You know what I mean? You haven't gotten the 1, 2, 3. But the strap match, you're not going to get a submission, a pin count, or anything like that. But WWE's rules, you have to go and hit each 4 of the turnbuckles in succession. So I can easily see Drew coming back and saying, yeah, you may have beat me in the strap match, but you haven't pinned me. You haven't beat me. My shoulders haven't been to the mat, shit like that. You know what I mean? And then that leading them to whatever type of match they're going to have at Bad Blood, which I would assume is going to be a Hell in a Cell for multiple reasons, right? Just makes sense. But to me, that's kind of like a long story short route of where I think they're going to go with Punk and McIntyre. So yeah, I was someone was saying you could possibly have Drew here and have Punk be the underdog, but Punk is just not a good underdog. Punk is that cult leader type. Punk is that person in the front. Like, yeah, his character rather is better when he has something to bitch about and something to really for. So yes, I could kind of see that route, but then again too, like, even if Punk wins this, I could see him very easily not wanting to be done with Drew just because of all the bullshit that's gone on between them in the past year. And I can also see Punk winning, but still not getting the bracelet back from Drew. And that's going to be another reason why Punk wants to continue this. And it'd be, as I was thinking about that and saying it, it'd be so funny and so ironic to have these two men carry on to Bad Blood and have a Hell in a Cell match and just get even more like physical in that match and have the main fight in the main subject at hand for this match be this bracelet. It's just kind of funny when you think about it. But again, I'm not the type to shit on it. I get the symbolism and I like it. It gives them something to fight for, and it's leading to the title, but it's not directly leading to the title. And even Punk referenced in the press conference from earlier today, he had said that he hadn't thought about losing because Michael Cole asked him something to the effect of, what if you do lose to McIntyre? What are you going to do, or how are you going to feel, or something in that regard? And Punk said he's not the type to really plan on losing. He's not the type to wake up in the morning, put his shoes on, and think that, I'm going to go out there and lose today, which is a fair point. But he did say that once he beats Drew, he's going to go on to bigger and better things. So I think that was pretty telling there. But yeah, we'll be getting. I see you there, Justin. So yeah, we'll be getting back to that. And Sarah, Liv Morgan, yeah, some Liv Morgan, Liv and Dom are pretty hot out there. A lot of people love talking about them. So yeah, we'll definitely be getting to that here in one moment. But yeah, so officially, I think Punk and McIntyre. It's to me, I think it's probably going to be. Well, I mean, Gunther and Randy Orton could be something special too. But I think Punk and McIntyre is just going to be just brutal. I think I'm most excited to see that match, but I think the better match may end up being Gunther, Randy Orton, but just for different reasons too, just depending on what you're more into as a wrestling style. So yeah, long story short, I think Punk is going to win this one, and it's going to continue and carry the feud to Bad Blood. So it would just make sense. We're not that far out from Bad Blood. Like I said, I believe it's October 5th. Next we'll go with Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. Oh no, we just did that one. I think I started with that one, but I don't think I ever gave my actual pick. So again, long story short, I have Cody Rhodes retaining. No surprise there. I don't know if, let me mark that as predicted. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I went on my tangent there, but I'm not going to say I don't think. I know right now it's not the time for Cody Rhodes to be losing. I think it's just a matter of, is he going to be facing against Owens again next month, or are we going to start fresh with like a Randy Orton? Because that could be fitting as well. Cody versus Randy at Bad Blood. And we, again, have a good amount of time to build and set that out, so we wouldn't be rushing anything. But yeah, officially, I don't believe I said that earlier, but officially Cody Rhodes is going to be retaining his title here. But next up, guys, we have what seems to be one of the most eagerly anticipated on the card, the Terror Twins. And let me know how you guys feel about the name, the Terror Twins. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley facing off against the new version of the Judgment Day, Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. I was actually going back and forth on this one this morning when I was thinking about my predictions here. To me, the easy answer is the Terror Twins. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley win here. First of all, I just love that we're getting an intergender match. I'm here for it. I think that we need to have more of them. And I'm still holding out hope and maybe naively thinking that we're going to be getting Rhea Ripley versus Dominic at some point in the future. Again, maybe not, but I think why not? Maybe after January, once they move to Netflix, if they can stretch this out to that long, that's probably pushing it. But I mean, you maybe could, you may be able to. It just all depends on the story and the direction they take. But with this one, we had, just had mentioned earlier, going back to it, Raquel Rodriguez is joining the new Judgment Day to help Liv Morgan and Dom win. So we got one vote there for Dom and Liv. We got some more support here for Liv Morgan from Sarah and Dominic. So shout out to them. And welcome, Sarah. It's always good to get more female presence here in the wrestling landscape. So shout out to you. But Justin followed up saying, the reason I said Raquel, because both her and Liv were both victims of Rhea Ripley. Remember when she and Raquel were women's tag team champions and Rhea cost them the belts against Sonya and Chelsea? Yeah, that's a very fair point. It makes a lot of sense. And Rhea and Raquel have a lot of history together. Even before that, they had been friends for a very long time. They were, I don't know if they ever had an official match in NXT, but I know they have been friends since the NXT days. And even when Rhea had moved up to, I think they did have a match in NXT. Um, I'll look that up. But yeah, regardless, even if they, let me see, it's gonna kind of bother me now. But even if they hadn't, we all know of in NXT rather, we all know of the history, right? And the friendship that Raquel and Rhea Ripley have had together. So that's, and maybe the majority of the fans don't, but a good portion of us do. Like Justin, the hardcore fans, right? We know of their friendship. So that's something that WWE can very easily bring us up to speed on as well. So I think that is another way that they could continue and prolong this Terror Twins and Judgment Day feud and possibly take it to WrestleMania. I know some people, there was like even some post on Twitter like this AI predicted WrestleMania 41 matches, and they had predicted that Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan was going to be extended until WrestleMania 41 with um Liv Morgan retaining or keeping the title until then. So I was actually pretty surprised to see that. So however, as before I even continue, as I was saying that, we are in a different era though. So I do have to give WWE their props within the past couple of years. They have had more focus on long-term story building. So the addition of Raquel would make a whole lot of sense, and I think it would get a good reaction from the Berlin crowd as well. So yeah, that's a really good point, Justin. So fair and touche on that, my friend. But yeah, I think especially with that point being at it, I was even this morning I was thinking about it, leaning more towards the Judgment Day winning here, Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan. I think that I was kind of thinking of a Finn Balor interference to, of course, keep the Damian Priest and Finn Balor hate alive and add another layer to that. It's gonna be, or it makes more sense, right, for Finn Balor to get involved to help Judgment Day win. I'd be more surprised if he didn't. Yes, it is kind of far from the travel, but that's what Judgment Day does, right? That's the whole point of being a group, being a faction, being a family, right? Is traveling together to make sure you got each other's backs. So I was kind of in the ball camp that we're going to get an interference from Finn Balor. Yes, it's predictable and probably not that exciting, but I was thinking that because then that again propels and leads us to Bad Blood. Depending on if you want to do Dominic versus Damian Priest at Bad Blood, I don't necessarily think you want to do that. I don't think, no offense to Dom, that's a strong enough singles match. I think you would want to do the first showing of Damian Priest versus Finn Balor at Bad Blood. I think that's a very fitting just environment for, again, multiple reasons to get their feuds started, their actual battles started. And it's going to be a situation, I don't know, because I don't want to do multiple Hell in a Cells, and especially I think that would be kind of jumping the gun. So I would stick with just having Punk and McIntyre at the in the Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. So I think you can do Priest and Finn Balor, but it would just make more sense for Priest to be even more pissed off at Balor and have even more reason to want to face him at Bad Blood for Balor costing the Terror Twins their match here at Bash in Berlin. So my official pick for this one is going to be the Judgment Day, Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan. I think we're gonna get Dominic pinning Damian Priest, as crazy as that sounds and is, because just not even too long ago, Damian Priest was our World Heavyweight Champion. Um, but I don't see. I don't know. I guess you could have Liv pinning Rhea, but I don't see that, especially with Balor interfering. So yeah, or I guess you could, because you could have. Obviously, we're not gonna have Finn punching Rhea or nothing like that, right? But I think that, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Finn is gonna do some shit to Priest, and it's gonna have Dominic pinning Priest, which is gonna be a surreal visual. um, but last and certainly not least, we have what I'm expecting to be the main event on the card. We have Randy Orton facing off against your World Heavyweight Champion Gunther for the championship. I like what they did here. Again, I don't recall hearing in the Twitter land if the whole shoulder being up thing between Randy and Gunther was originally planned or if it was just kind of like a happy accident. But regardless, that was the beginning and the foundation for this feud going forward. And I like that Gunther ended up making it personal with Randy. I like that Randy has kind of teetered back and forth on showing those voices, right? Like he's kind of getting that itch. But I like that Randy Orton he's just a strong baby face right now, which is crazy to see. To be alive to see, right? I remember when Randy Orton was the top guy, just this vicious viper, and now he's the face in a lot of ways of the show that he's on. What was it, last week? He had the opening segment and he had like a strong go home babyface promo, which was really, really just a sight to see. And I'm happy for him. I love this version of Randy. It kind of makes me not even want to see him turn heel in the, I would say, near future. If everything is to believe that he's going to be an eventual opponent for Cody Rhodes. I don't know. I like this version of Randy, so that's going to be a bittersweet moment. And again, it could actually even be more vicious depending on what Randy ends up doing. And again, I think going to Netflix is going to really open up that avenue. I guess it's not going to matter because Cody would be on SmackDown, and Randy's on Raw, but I don't know. We'll see. And again, that may not even happen until after the Royal Rumble, but there was some speculation that they would possibly start their feud at Bad Blood as well. So we'll see. But Gunther, I think, has just played his role so well. And I think Gunther is just really fitting as the World Heavyweight Champion. And I think he's probably going to go, 2-year run, I would say. That's why, long story short, spoiler alert, I'm not going to make you wait that long. Randy Orton is not going to be winning here, in my opinion. It's going to be a Gunther retain. And I think the fans are going to be just crazy for Gunther. If you haven't seen the press conference, they were already just crazy for him. Pretty much like a hometown vibe type thing. Randy Orton did reveal, however, that he does have about 70% of German in him. So, and he said it makes sense because he loves beer, he loves sauerkraut. So now we know, guys. And I know you've been wondering. So the answer has been revealed. He checked his ancestry.com prior, is what he said. So shout out to Randy. I'm happy for him. He said that he should have some home field advantage at that point. Or I think Michael Cole joked about that, I think. But yeah, this match is going to be very hard hitting as well. Just and it obviously different than the Punk and McIntyre one. This one is going to be just a good, stiff wrestling match, and I'm fucking here for it, man. Like I love Gunther matches for that reason. I think that Randy Orton is going to bring out a different side of Gunther, and I think the match that they had, that King of the Ring finals, I think that was just kind of like the beginning of it, and I think that was a good like base match for them to kind of have under their belt to know, okay, like this is what we can do and we can go from here with it. And I think the chops are going to be insane. Randy Orton brought his wife with him, which is a good twist, or not good twist, but a good touch rather, because of how personal Gunther has made everything. They had shown footage of Randy Orton arriving to the arena, and he got out first, and then his wife got out of the vehicle that they arrived in. So I don't think that was done by accident. I think, and Randy even mentioned that she's going to be sitting ringside, soaking it all in and watching the match. So I think Gunther is going to have something to do with Randy's wife, which I love because if you follow, I think I follow him on Instagram, and I'm not even that like big on Instagram. I check it like sporadically. But his wife is like one of those fiery women, so it's gonna be very, very fun to watch. So I hope they get her involved somehow, and I hope they play into that because it would just make sense, right? Gunther's, well, I don't recall if he specifically mentioned Randy's like immediate family, but he definitely mentioned like obviously spouse and kids rather, but or if he did, it was more kind of off the cuff or just kind of indirectly. But I think that with him mentioning, Randy's grandfather and then Randy's father, that is big to Randy. And that's when we kind of saw Randy getting pissed off a little bit, kind of veering or showing signs of the old Randy and the old pissed off Randy that we get. And we haven't really had anyone push his buttons like that in a while. So it's going to be something special to see how close we get to the Viper Randy, that pissed off version. And again, this could be the seeds being planted if Gunther does continue to push Randy. That could be something that propels Randy to just snapping and maybe possibly turning on Cody at some point. And again, I just feel like that's a stretch, and it's going to be hard to really bridge Cody and Randy back together. I guess they can make it as simple as Randy wanting to go to SmackDown or something. I don't know. They can make a trade or some shit, but I don't know. I think that they need to. That'll be a discussion for a different day. But right now, I think that Randy bringing his wife is gonna have some effect, and it's gonna be very interesting to see. Um, but let me see. Let me see. Oh, Sean's in the chat. What's up, Sean? Da, da, da. Let me go back. But yeah, let me wrap up my prediction. I'll go to some of these comments here. But yeah, so and I think I already referenced it, but just to put a little bow on that, officially, Gunther is retaining the title here in Berlin, and I think it would be a travesty if they don't have that in the main event slot. So yeah, WWE do, and I think they will because with the press conference they had Gunther and Randy Orton coming out last at the press conference. So, and I don't even think I. So fair. I did catch it like halfway through, but I tried to go back and watch the beginning, and I thought I watched it all, but I don't recall Cody coming out, nor Kevin Owens for that matter. So I'll have to go back and double check that. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, Justin says if Gunther gets buried by Orton, I'll be angry. Nah, man, I don't think we have any worries about that. I think it's gonna be. It could be the exact opposite, but I don't think anyone's gonna get buried in that match. So I don't think we have any concern there. I think they're gonna want. I think that match is probably gonna go 15, 20 minutes. I would say at least. So I don't think there's gonna be anything like that. What's up, Sean? So Sean appeared. Oh, thank you, my friend. We're seeing you do it live. It is. It's my first live over here, man. Like I had said at the beginning of the show, I am still learning what the heck I'm doing here. I'm don't really know, so I literally figured out how to link everything earlier. So it's like, yeah, screw it. We'll mess around and figure this out. So, but yeah, man, I threw this up here because you said Gunther all the way, but it should be a such a fun match. I couldn't agree more. But yeah, man, thank you, Sean. All you're just so always so positive, man. So all love to you and your family and everything. But yeah, Justin, Sean agrees with you as well. Didn't even think about Raquel. It was a very interesting point. Yeah, I hadn't even thought. I thought about her. Like I said, I heard something about her maybe like within the past week, but I hadn't even really thought about her interfering in the match here, which would make a lot of sense. But see what you said, Justin. For Orton, it's 2024, not 2004, when he beat the late Chris Benoit for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam 2004. He's old news. So are you saying that you don't want to see Orton ever win the title and you want to see him like keep his 14 title reigns and just be done? But yeah, I remember when he beat Benoit. That was a big moment because that led to obviously the infamous the thumbs down with him in Evolution and all that. So yeah, man, that was like prime for me. That was like I was really getting into everything. I mean, I've been watching it already for a few years prior. I don't even remember how old I was. I'd have to do the math at this point. But yeah, no, I totally remember. Totally remember. But yeah, so just so you saying you don't want Orton to ever win again, or you don't think he should be fighting for the title, or what do you think about that? And Sean's just agreeing with you, man. The crowd will be great. Yeah, I don't think they'll get too crazy. I mean, they are in Germany, so depending on any tailgating or anything like that, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up going. But yeah, just following up on the Orton Cody touch, it would be a fun story. To me, the fans would boo Randy, even though he's a legacy star. I don't know, Sean. I think you're. As crazy as it sounds, I think it would kind of veer into Cena territory. I think your families, like your moms and your kids, would always be there for Cody no matter what, and still maybe a good portion of the men. But I think a lot, and especially depending on how they present Cody and what the story is based on, the substance of it, and how it gets started, I think that you could very easily get, even if they're trying to position Randy as the bad guy, I think you could get a lot of inadvertent love for Randy at that point. I think it could be one of those situations where you turn Randy and ends up backfiring, and Randy ends up getting more love, and it actually turns on Cody. I don't see it being that dramatic, but I think it could start some of the like planting some seeds for that, for the Cody portion of how long are we gonna really love Cody, and how long are we gonna all be about his story and all this shit. I think that it could really maybe be more harm than good. And that's why I'm kind of curious about it, and kind of hesitant on how they do that story to begin with. Um, but yeah, I think the majority of the people probably, I think it probably be 70-30, if anything at the highest, cheering Cody and booing Randy. So yeah, Sean, I don't think you're too far off there. Um, yeah, it would be, and that's what I was thinking about too. It would be the first meeting, because when you look at his run and of his title defenses so far, it hasn't really been all that stellar, and it's just kind of been like, okay, like, what are we doing? We're just kind of like biding time until we get closer to WrestleMania season for The Rock to come back. Which, don't even get me started on that. Like, I'm not, no. Which I know that's going to be an eventual match, and it's going to be, the story is going to be good and fun, but I'm just, I have mixed feelings on it. But when I say no, I mean we shouldn't just be treading water until we get to WrestleMania season. I don't want that to start being a thing, and especially with Cody. I don't think that you wanna do that. Yeah, Justin, I think he will be passing the torch to Gunther though. I think he's gonna really make Gunther look good, and I think he's gonna have him show out. I think it's gonna be a good match. I don't see. I'm not concerned at all. I think it's gonna be kind of the opposite of your concerns. I think it's gonna be a showcase for Gunther. I think it's gonna be a good back and forth match, but I don't see Gunther, or yeah, I don't see Gunther being buried by Randy or anything like that. And I think Randy is gonna lose to Gunther, and Randy's gonna end up moving on and doing whatever. And that's why I brought up the whole Cody thing, because Bad Blood would be an ideal place to start, I guess, depending on how long you want the Randy and Cody feud to go. But that's what I'm saying. I don't really see him losing to Gunther, or beating Gunther rather. I would be very surprised. I think we all be very surprised if Randy beat Gunther for the title. Um, yeah, and Sean was kind of saying that as well. He's Gunther has the torch and he's running with it now. So yeah, I think, yeah, Gunther's good. Gunther is he's good, and he's gonna be good for quite some time. Yeah, Sean was just saying they don't have to be great, but this will help fuel a hopefully great story. Couldn't agree with you more there, my friend. But yeah, we're gonna kind of wind down here. I just wanted to pop on and just experiment with a couple things, and just see what all this was about. Thank you guys for popping in. Thank you, Sean, as always. You're great, my friend, and thank you, Justin, for popping in as well. I appreciate you, and Sarah for showing some Liv Morgan and Dominic love earlier. They have been definitely getting some love out there. But shout out to you guys. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely be doing another live whenever. Maybe I'll add this to like a schedule or something, and see how things go. But until next time, my friends, enjoy Bash in Berlin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good show. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. Yeah, talk to you later, Sean. I don't think it's going to be a too crazy long show, so I may be able to do some type of review. Uh, Maybe immediately after the show, maybe not too long after, sometime tomorrow night. I don't know if that'll be live or if it'll just be recording and posting. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for popping in and checking out this first ever live here. I really appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe and like and whatever you feel is necessary. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at Kagash Podcast _ me personally at ASHMANNS. I'll be live tomorrow over at Brass Ring Media at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So kind of be running down the card again and then reviewing SmackDown from tonight to see if there's anything. I don't suspect anything crazy is going to change or impact the card, but taking a look at that show and again just running over the card for tomorrow and anything groundbreaking that happens in the next less than 24 hours. But again, guys, thank you so much for popping in, and until next time, again, probably tomorrow night, but until next time, guys, stay safe and enjoy some wrestling.